we're live, and now it's like exploding. So it's just, yeah, there's good and bad to that, you know. Like I said, there's so many cool like restaurants and bars and like things to do down there now. But then the flip side is just like the traffic's real bad, the rent's going up. So it's, you know, there's good and bad that happens. So, but it's still better. I think I like it more now still than I liked it back then. So, yeah.
Okay. Very good. This is just live, and they're saying that more things live. It was tricky with it.
This corner for some reason is tight.
Yeah.
Big old TV.
Big old TV. Big old TV.
Is that going every night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did keep it on in the backdrop, but we decided not to. So we're live now, doing our thing. Everybody out there? You don't know if anybody's watching you or not, but the idea is that the live algorithms are getting and gaining a lot of traction. So they want us to do more live, right? And so having a beer with Fred's about having fun, talking about what's going on in, your
In the
life.
world,
When I'm talking to James Coyle here from the Midlands of the...
Well, originally from Scotland.
Originally, yeah.
A proud
You
Scot.
Scottish don't give that up easy, do you?
No, we don't, Freddie.
No, you always... I don't blame
It's
you.
the same as you Canadians.
Yeah, right. Well, I came from Lebanon, but they threw all the Christians out over there. We got to try to regain some of our...
It's been America's gain.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so we're excited. The idea about having a beer with Fred is about socialization. It's about communicating in an environment. It's about sharing business and entrepreneurial. It's about toasting each other and toasting our community. And one of the biggest things about you, James, that I learned early on was you love to build community. You love, and in your companies that you've worked in, whether, when you left Marston's and went to Innocent Gun, I saw you immediately building community with the individual, globally, right? Contacts, relationships, get together. And then with us, you basically came on board with Shipyard. You're doing 4 or 5 other things. You're building community for Shipyard to interface with its other relationships and connecting.
Yeah.
Like when we did this recent trip to the UK and we had the TV show for Dirty Water TV, you kept connecting.
Yeah.
And a lot of that leads to community and leads to development, leads to progress, it leads to, other businesses.
Opportunities.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's got a story, and listening to people's stories, where they came from, what motivates them, what turns them on, why they're working in this bar rather than another bar, why they've chosen to pursue a career in beer rather than going and working in the IT or a different area. So I love people, I'm from Irish descent, oldest of 7 children, my wife's middle of 7 children, so we have a big family. And early in my life, I was a father at 19. We moved down after university, we moved down to England to follow the yellow brick road to find my fortune in England, and I got lucky.
How much is enough? How much is enough? I get it.
Like for me, it's not materialism.
No.
It's about.
No, but it's something, right? It's that energy. It's that juice. It's that.
Yeah.
You know what a buddy of mine says? Just a little bit more. Just one more time. It's like, why did like you take a guy like Tom Brady? He had 6 rings. He wanted the 7th ring.
Yeah.
Then he wanted the 8th. I mean, it's that juice, right?
And it's not about the materialism, Fred.
Right.
It genuinely is about pushing yourself, connecting people, as you say. You know, at my stage in life now, I've been CEOs and directors. I've worked in multinational companies, small companies. When I see the next Fred Forsley, the next James Coyle,
You get excited.
these guys coming through, and you encourage them. Yeah, you know, we've all made mistakes, but learning from those mistakes,
Many.
spinning it on, being successful, picking yourself up, dusting yourself down,
Yeah.
seeing a fresh challenge, going for it again with some renewed energy.
But it's
And-
about the next game. It's about the next challenge. But you know, I mean, eventually, I think you can have a situation where you say, "Wow, we really did well. We could chill a little bit.
Yeah.
We can enjoy this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There are moments of enjoyment, right?
Absolutely, and you know, at my stage in life now,
You gotta make sure you enjoy the moments.
absolutely.
I know you've done
do,
that.
yeah.
You do.
You do. Each moment you take at different levels, don't
Yeah.
you? You know, you can fully immersed in the moment, but you know, as you go through your career, those moments become different, and you have a different moment with a
Right.
different person, etc., etc. And you know, now that I've stepped back from sort of being a full-time worker, I'm now I'm a chairman, I'm an investor, I'm a mentor. I'm working with sort of different organisations where I help the management team to really pass on my experience, and
Yep.
you do that every day. You know,
Well,
within your organisation.
Trying, yeah.
I've saw you with Ben. I've saw you with Robert Corcoran and some guys here in the bar. You know all the names,
Yeah.
which is really really important.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I do
that-
my best with names. It's tough. You know, it's tough with names. I get myself in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's.
But
it's-
recognition.
You know, recognition, and I definitely recognize faces and positions and places. And being here in Florida, Treasure Island, St. Pete, we've gone through so much in the last 3 or 4 months with the hurricanes and the rebuilding,
Yeah.
and who's going to stay, who's going to go, and you know, the future does. The future does not equal the past. There's
Doesn't,
more
you know-
opportunity if you focus on moving forward, no matter what's in your life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And and you look at how social media,
Yeah.
the developments in the last 5 years post-COVID with social media, interaction, technology, people perhaps losing a bit of self-confidence. You know, they're not going to the workplace, they're not interacting, they're not speaking to people, they're on dating apps, they're
Well,
ordering their groceries online.
We got used to getting kicked in the gut and getting up, right? Like we had to deal with things. We had, like when I got out of college in 1979, you couldn't get a job. I mean,
Yeah.
it was really difficult. And if you got a job, a lot of times they were laying off and you'd be rehired. So you had to adapt and deal with it. Right now, for the first times, a lot of young people are experiencing tougher times,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
they're having to deal with maybe downsizing or maybe what. I don't think it'll be for long. I think there's such a demand for activity and growth in America.
Yeah.
And what about the UK? What do you
It's
see
similar,
happening?
I think the old traditional industries that were labour intensive, so whether it's manufacturing cars, manufacturing garments, construction work, etc. Generations change, so you've now got a generation of workforce now who are really good on computers, they're good
Yeah.
on social media, they're doing podcasts, they're passing on experiences, they're personal trainers, they're doing lifestyle coaches. You're involved in a business where that they're looking at dogs, and there's a global trend called
Right.
the humanization of pets.
Yeah.
There are people who treat their dog better than they treat their children.
Right.
So they'll,
Probably should too.
they'll
Think
go
of it.
without to make sure that the dog has its injections, it gets groomed,
Yeah,
it gets
yeah.
walked, it has the best food. You no longer give the dog the scraps from the table.
Right.
Dogs eat. Some
Why do you
dogs
mind
eat
calling me Mrs. Fred? We have to do a dog beer. Do a beer that dogs will love more than.
Yeah.
I said, well, that might be a little interesting. Get dogs, have a few, maybe low alcohol, but it's
Yeah,
got
yeah,
maybe a stout or something that's low alcohol.
Yeah,
Maybe,
well,
or
We could have some fun over a few beers trying
Right.
to come up with the brand name for that, Freddie.
Let's do
get
it.
Get
I
your
mean,
creativities
why,
going.
why not, right?
Well, I mean, Sea Dog is it's a family brand,
Right.
And I've been fortunate to be in many a Sea Dog restaurants, Fred, and the overwhelming thing that
Wow.
strikes me as it's
Family.
fun. There's energy. There's family.
Energy. Yeah.
Food. I mean, all the F's. People come in there. You come in a stranger and you leave as a friend.
That's the idea, right? That's, we have the Mug Club here, and we also in Treasure Island at the Sea Dog, and one of our original ones was at Federal Jacks,
Yeah.
Kennebunkport. I was there yesterday and the day before, and it's just the culture of the Mug Club and people knowing each other. And, if you have an issue or something, and there may be somebody you can call to,
Yeah.
to work forward. And
Yeah. Absolutely.
So you've, if you look back on your career, in your opinion, what was the high point? What was your
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the points that stand out are the decisions you make.
Yeah.
And someone early in my career said to me, life's about decisions. I have learned, as I'm approaching 60 years old, having worked for 40 odd years, yes, decisions are really important, but what's more important is the commitment to the decision.
Right.
Now, you can make a decision to go left or right, but if you make a decision to go left,
You don't go all
and, and you don't go all in, you're looking over your shoulder, you're going to stumble and fall.
Yeah.
So, I made a decision to leave Kraft Foods, which is the world's largest consumer goods company, to join a small brewery called
little brewery.
Marston's.
Yeah.
And every day, it was a 4-hour drive from home. I got up at 4
just
o'clock
kept
in the
going.
morning. I kept going, and I left there in tears, thinking it's the worst decision I've made.
I've never seen you cry.
Well, I did when I dropped a few bucks on
In
the
a
roulette
casino?
on the roulette table.
Oh,
That's
jeez.
never good.
Only money. Only money.
But yeah, that commitment to that decision, and when you push it through, and you'll have been the
Just
same,
keep
Freddie.
going, right?
There've been some decisions you made when early on you're thinking, is this right or wrong? But you make it work.
Just go, right?
You get the
Do
team.
the best you can.
You get the team behind you. You get them supported. And I know you're a big family guy, your own physical family, but every single, I've saw how you interact with the team.
Yeah.
Not just the people who work with you, Fred. I'm not going to say for you, but
Right.
I see you go into the bars, the people who sit there, all of your guests. You
Well-
speak to them like family.
Well, they are. That's the fun thing about a pub, is you create a village. And there was a pub that Ringwood had in the was it the New Forest?
Yeah.
And it was called Royal Arms, and pretty cool. Yeah. So we're two of my friends just came in. We'll talk to them, but
Yeah.
we're gonna sit right at that table right there. And Sharon, meet our friends. Yeah. So here we are in the pub downstairs.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better
the
than
bowels
this,
of
Fred.
the brewery.
We're sat in Treasure
Right?
Island, Sea Dog
Right?
Treasure Island.
Yeah.
It's a glorious March day, March the 20th, the sun's shining.
Yeah.
There's dolphins come popping up to say hello.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of fun. We don't pivot. We adjust. We have fun.
You
It's
evolve,
like, maybe a little pivoting.
Yeah, I mean, the human race is pretty resilient. There's been pandemics, there's been wars, there's been
Yeah.
ice age, but we're still alive,
No,
Freddie.
don't, and I have a buddy that sells. Don't sell America short. Don't sell the UK short.
Absolutely, yeah.
We're good friends, good partners.
Yeah.
We're like
Special
200,
relationship.
250 years ago, we were fighting each other.
Yeah.
But today we're partners.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Anything's possible.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. And we're just gonna keep it going. We're gonna keep
Yeah.
having fun. We're gonna have lunch today at the pub. We'll meet a few of our friends who are coming. Steve. Hey, Steve, come on over. I want you to meet Sharon. Come on over. Come this way, though. Don't trip on the wire.
Steve, how are you? I'm James.
James, stand over here.
okay.
We'll get Sharon over here. Come on over. So Steve's been on some of my other videos
Fred.
on YouTube. He's the $2 bill guy.
There you go, Fred.
He's
There you go.
That's
for you,
You'll see if you look back
Yeah.
and Steve
Is
has had
that an original copy?
yeah. Oh, he had the
Can I get
sheets.
you a coffee?
That's the sheet.
Yeah.
Sharon,
You
come
come
over
in.
here, Sharon. Sharon is Sharon Coyle is the brains and the beauty
please.
behind the James Coyle brand.
You told her to
right?
say that?
The brains and the beauty. And she's raised 3 beautiful children with you, and now
Yeah.
a beautiful granddaughter. And my good friend Steve, I tell you about the Sauna Club. Every morning,
He
7
FaceTimes
a.m.
me at 7 a.m.
7 a.m.
Yeah.
at the Camden Pier Apartments, and we solve every problem there is in the world.
Known to man.
Yeah, yeah. We just keep. You know, you got an issue with it. He grew up in an entrepreneurial family. His dad was a window man, right?
Right.
Not a beer man, but a window man.
Window guy.
Yeah.
So, but you know, he knows a guy type of thing. Where you say, Jesus, what are you doing? But you're from,
Baltimore, Maryland.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and you always talk about the shore.
That's sure.
Right.
The beach. Yeah.
The beach.
Yeah.
And I had a good friend that passed away, John Richardson.
Yeah, I know
who's-
John
who-
very
who-
well, yeah,
who,
met-
who worked.
Yeah.
He was always going to bring
Last
me
time
to
I
the
saw
shore.
John a few years ago in $3 Dewey's, my favourite bar.
Right.
$1 lookie, $2 touchy,
Yeah.
$3 Dewey.
Yeah, we lost him to a heart attack
Yeah.
during COVID, but he was the guy I told you about. Was the Maryland Shore? What do they call it?
Eastern Shore.
Yeah, but what's the name of it? It's
Ocean City.
Ocean City. He was going to bring me to Ocean City because that's where he bartended, and you know the stories that he would tell me, and I always wanted to go, and that's where you spend the summer, right?
Yes, we're heading
Yeah.
up there at the end of May.
Yeah.
Fantastic, yeah.
This guy. You're a character. He's a character. He's got this Corvette that I drove down in
Right there.
around the Oval. It's a yellow Corvette.
Is
And,
that the one that's
yeah.
just been broken into?
Yeah. The girls are jumping
Yeah,
up on.
yeah.
And,
There's that jiggle in the door.
but this morning I said, "Geez, you have to come meet James and Sharon because he's a character." And our other friend Paul's here, who is from Alabama and has a beautiful wife, Elena and Alana, and Max, who's been on earlier videos. Max Pinkerton is a young man who's very entrepreneurial, to say the least, and so we like to have fun. That's the idea with having a beer with Fred.
Absolutely, yeah.
And yeah, if you can look at some of the old videos with you on Fred Forza YouTube, and this will be a new show that
A new
we'll put out
edition.
there.
Yeah.
And we're having fun. You know, the
Yeah.
idea is to have a beer and we'll have some lunch here.
Yeah,
And
sounds
cheers.
good, yeah.
Sharon, do you want to
Yeah.
say anything to
No,
the public?
no, thank you.
No, thank
Yeah.
you.
Nope.
We've had many, many fun times.
Yeah.
And Sharon exemplifies behind every great man there's a great woman kicking him square into the ass. And there's
Keeping him on his
an
straight and narrow.
astonished mother-in-law,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, like I didn't believe it amount to anything. Well, I'm sure. And I've been so fortunate to meet you and your family. We
Yeah.
talked earlier on our other podcast about meeting you on the golf course. You were by the pool.
Yeah.
Kids were all there, and we were golfing 14 years ago now.
And
So
they shoot 40 years together,
40.
met at high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've survived. You're together.
Yeah, Shaz, yeah.
How do you put up with them? I mean,
Therapy.
you're a saint. You're a saint. His wife is a saint too. I don't know. But he was telling me this morning about how he gets his instructions. He's about to go on an all-inclusive
Yeah.
trip, and she told him, "You're not going to drink. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that."
Yeah,
And
exactly.
he's got his list of
La,
nods.
la, la, la,
What
la.
will she let you do? What's she going to let you do?
Whatever I do.
Okay.
What-
She's not gonna let
Don't
me do
ask
it.
Whatever
permission.
you don't
I'm,
tell her.
I'm asking for a lot of forgiveness later on.
That's all right.
Yeah. Well, it's better. It's better, right?
yeah.
Keep
Better
moving
to ask
up.
forgiveness than not do it at all.
Yeah. Well, every family's a team and a unit.
Absolutely.
We're fortunate to have the crew here at Sea Dog Treasure Island, and you talk about your team a lot. Now you're with a huge company
Yes.
that bought your team, and
Miter Brands.
and
Yeah.
he's just a young guy. They wanted him to retire, but then they sucked him out of retirement,
Yeah.
and he's still
Yeah.
working.
We got to get other
Still a
qualities.
young guy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
69.
So Paul, we got over there. Yeah. All right. Well,
I'm
who's here?
tipping my
Paul's.
hat to you.
Yeah, there you
You
go.
want to get in? No.
All right. Thank
All right.
you, Fred.
All right, buddy. I'm gonna slide Paul in real quick.
Part of the prayer.
Yeah. So Paul, meet Sharon. You guys
How
met
are you,
this
Paul?
James?
Good to meet you. Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah.
Paul is part of the. He's the other guy that's in
The Mug Club.
the Mug
the
Club.
Sauna Club.
Sauna Club.
Very
Sauna.
exclusive group. It's 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Fred FaceTimes me.
Well,
with,
and
with
he's
a
been
call.
he's been an entrepreneur pretty much his whole career.
Pretty much.
Yeah, Alabama guy.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Yeah.
Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah.
Sweet Home, Alabama.
And you've
What,
been-
Leonard Skinner, is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a huge Bitcoin guy.
Wow.
And
I love
I
Bitcoin.
I believe in Bitcoin a lot more than gold. Like, I think it's just what are you going to focus on? What's your expertise? If I had any liquidity, I'd put it in
Yeah.
Bitcoin, and I've done a little bit, but you believe go long on Bitcoin.
Go hard or go
absolutely.
Yeah,
home.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You started in
I started buying Bitcoin at 30,000 a coin.
30,000.
Now- Yeah, now it's what, 85 right
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
And I think Bitcoin will probably be $250,000.
He's
in
saying a
2
quarter of a
years.
million Bitcoin.
In 2 years.
Yeah.
Do you have any Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Here's to
Here's,
it.
here's to it.
Ethereum,
So tell us-
Litecoin.
tell
I've
us
got
real-
about 12.
Tell us real quick. Your wife is a true partner. Give us a little background on your wife and your kids.
Alana is, she's gotten in the real estate business now.
Yeah.
And
Her and I have been talking real estate.
that's right. And she's just decided to jump in and got in this month, actually.
Downtown St. Pete, focused
Yeah.
on the high
And she's
condos.
already going to close the deal next month, in the
Yeah.
middle of the month.
You've been mentoring her, telling her what to do. how to
No. She mentors me.
Yeah.
I do what she tells me.
Yeah.
And you were a mortgage broker for
I
many
was a
years.
mortgage lender.
Lender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we used to, fund loans and sell it to Citi and Chase and people like that.
Yeah.
Great business to be in. But
Yeah.
then it all fell apart. No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my other videos, I've had Max on the show, and Max is a very dynamic young man. We talked about him not needing to go to college, didn't need to because he had a direction, he had a vision of what he does. You told me this morning he's going to be look at being a pilot. He's
Yeah,
going to focus on
he's
that.
taking-
But he's very talented technologically with video.
And he's taking flight lessons next week
Wow.
when he gets back. He's on a cruise this week.
Amazing.
And he's going to take flight lessons, and he wants to be a pilot. We have a lot of pilots in
Yeah.
the building.
Yep. And Liam, he met with Liam, was my buddy that's
I met Liam, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's great that he wants
And your
to
other
do it.
son,
Yeah.
Is in racing.
yeah, Andrew.
Andrew.
I met Andrew and his wife, and his wife would like to start a family pretty quick, but he's very focused on
It's
first buying a plane.
expensive.
No, he wants to buy a plane first, right?
He wants to buy. The two things he wants to buy this year: a plane and a house.
Yeah.
Most people don't go. I'm
Then
going
he-
to buy a
then he-
plane and a house.
Then,
this year."
then she's going to be able to get married. Then
I want a new pair of sneakers.
Yeah, right.
So, but he's doing he drives race cars, but he also does the technology for race cars at a high level.
Right.
He's the guy in the pit doing the
He's your strategist and engineer. He sets the cars up,
Yeah.
and then he's the guy that's in the driver's ear.
Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah, yeah,
telling
yeah,
them,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
pit, let's forget
Yeah.
oil, gas,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
that,
yeah.
And he loves it. He's been
Yeah.
he's been doing it since he was about this tall.
Yeah,
I mean,
which is
in
very
racing.
cool. And we
Yeah,
met in the
it's
sauna.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Really
We met,
good.
and all these things circle
Yeah.
back to community. Our little community in the sauna.
conversation.
And I've met more people, and that's how I actually ended up, starting to do these talks was through. I'll tell that story another time.
Yeah.
But everything leads to one thing, leads to another.
Yeah.
Our wings are up. We're gonna have lunch.
That sounds
We'll
like
have
a
lunch and
plan.
have some
I
fun.
think the next podcast is in the sauna.
All right, we can do that.
That's the X-rated one.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
All right. Very good.